Good morning. We're live. So cool, exactly at 11 o'clock. Wasn't that cool? Hello once again. I'm Richard in my regular Monday morning position. And really excited to talk to you about this topic today. The secret to great communication. Now, there are probably many secrets. I'm going to give you one. One I think really important, maybe the most important. I find working with my students in language classes and working with people in public speaking classes. I taught radio for a number of years in Canada, many years ago. I was teaching young people how to communicate on the radio. I've done many acting classes, improv classes, so I understand a little bit about this subject. And I want to bring to you some of the wisdom that I've learned here in Brazil, okay, working with you guys. So, first thing I want to say about me, you don't need to see about me, you see who I am. We are offering today a very special ebook. This comes from a radio program that I did with Claudia Bernhard Pacheco about leadership and spirituality and leadership. And we've turned this transcript into a little ebook that you can have for free. But, of course, you have to do something. You have to enter your information inside the description on the YouTube channel, okay? So when you enter YouTube, you're going to see a description there. There'll be a place for you to register to receive this free ebook, okay? I hope you take advantage of it. It's really interesting. It's kind of like a bath in English, because it's a very complex subject, very complex idea, and you can read this and meditate on it. It's a really, really interesting ebook, so I want you to take advantage of that. Okay, but you just have to register, and then it's yours for free. Okay, so that's the thing I wanted to say at the top. So when we're done and you're in the YouTube channel, just go to the description. You can even do it now and register your name and your email address, and it's yours. Okay, looks beautiful. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. Second thing, I want to ask you a question. This is a $64 million question, as I joke with my students many times. Which is most important, to love yourself or to love others? In terms of success in life, ability, what do you think is most important? You can certainly put it in the chat, and I'll see. Hi, Diane. Hi, Masami. William, Leda, Nadir, Clay. I see many people writing already. So just type into the chat, what do you think is most important if you want to be a good communicator, if you want to have success in your life? Love yourself, love others first. Michelle, ebook, good news. Yeah, really good news, huh? Yeah, we're expanding our work. We'll try to do this every week, actually. So you guys, what do you think? Love yourself or love others first? Which one's most important? Love others, says Jessica, who's studied at Millennium for some time. Good. Juliana, hi. Roxanne, hi, good morning. Michelle, love yourself. This is common, isn't it? This is what we learn when we're going to school in our families. Sonia, love others first. Both, but first love yourself. Nivea, love yourself first. So you can see there's this really interesting question here. Love yourself or love others? And how I think about this is, of course, we need to have respect for ourselves. We need to care for how we look. All those kind of things are important, care for our health. But in terms of development in life, success in life, I think the other one's most important, to love others, to have this appreciation, affection for others. Now, why do I think that? Nadir just wrote here, love others, starting with ourselves. Nino, loving others is an expression of self-love. Loving others, love yourself. So there's always this debate. It's kind of like the question, which came first, the chicken or the egg, right? It's this really complex philosophical question. So I want to approach this because this is a fundamental for good communication, to understand the answer to this question, which is most important. They're both important, of course. Which is most important? This is a philosophical point. So let me start with that. Dr. Keppe's philosophical point. The human being truly knows himself only through his undertakings, which is empreendimentos in Portuguese, especially work, not through study, which is of value only if it has some practical application. So you really only know yourself through your undertakings, through what you do. So, how do you know if a person is a loving person? How do you know that? You look at a person, you say that person has a lot of affection, has a lot of love, has a lot of care, a lot of concern, a lot of empathy. How do you know that? Not by the feelings they have. They feel good inside themselves. No, that doesn't do it. What illustrates or demonstrates a loving person is somebody who gives. It's the expression that does it. So you can't be a loving person if you don't express it. Love is an action. It's not a feeling. It's something that you do. So if we're thinking about success in our lives, ability to communicate, ability to do anything, we have to have this expression outward, right? Por fora, not por dentro. It won't help you to focus the energy inside. The development in life will come from how you focus your energy outside, how you give to others. That's the secret of love, affection. It's an action, not a feeling. And this is a philosophical point, right? You only really know yourself through what you do. So how do you know if you're a loving person? Not by how much love you feel inside, but how much love you give. That's how you know a loving person. And you all have people in your lives like that, for sure. People who help you, who help others. You know, I'll tell you a little secret about this, how I came to understand this better. One, studying with Dr. Keppe. It's everywhere in his work. But I learned this in looking at my father. My father died about almost 4 years ago now. And when I think about my father, he was from an English background, right? So that means he didn't show a lot of emotion. He wasn't a very expressive person with his emotions. I remember even later in his life, when my brothers and I would see him, we would shake hands, which for Brazilians is totally strange, right? But that's the English way. And later in life, as I became more comfortable with this, I began to give him a hug, and my brothers too, which kind of shocked them at first, But my father, on the surface, did not appear to be a person who demonstrated a lot of love in his expression. But you know what? He helped everybody. He was a really helpful person. If neighbors came to the house for help, he would help them. Any of the kids, of course. He was expressing his love through his actions. So I can say now that my father was a very loving man. Not by the appearance, not by this feeling inside, but by his actions. So it's very important, this question. Now, a second question I could ask you, how do you know if somebody's a loving person? By what they do. If you think that love is to love yourself first, what about the people who risk their lives for other people? How do we explain that? Somebody who puts their life second, their life. Mothers will do this with their children. Fathers too. Men in crisis situations will risk their life to help their partner, their colleague, their workmate, their teammate. They will put themselves second. How do you explain that if you think that loving yourself is the most important? And the great people in society, the people we admire, are the ones who sacrifice themselves for a greater good, like Martin Luther King. An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity, right? Se elevar acima dos estreitos limites de suas preocupações individualistas às preocupações mais amplas de toda a humanidade. Now, doesn't that put this in a different perspective? Doesn't that say something different about this idea of where's our love, where's our affection? We don't start living until we put ourselves above our own needs. That's another mentality, isn't it? That's another secret to life. Mandela said, "For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others." Right? Pois ser livre não é apenas jogar fora as correntes, mas é viver de uma forma que respeita e aumenta a liberdade dos outros. So, what about these great guys? They weren't living for this idea of self-love. They were living for a universal ideal, something bigger than themselves. So in here, I think we can find a real secret to our lives, that we need to live a life that's not only focused on ourselves, that's focused on other people, focused on helping, contributing, participating, being part of something bigger than just myself. We're in kind of a universal symphony, and this universal symphony is something that needs to, we need to play our part, our little instrument, right? It's not only for us to play our instrument for us, but for the total symphony. So now we come back to that question, love yourself first or love others first? Which one's most important? I think if we're thinking about great communication, great leadership, we have to think in terms of others, not ourselves. Why? Claudia Pacheco said this in 2012 in a really interesting radio program. When a person's interests are directed toward himself, in direção de ele próprio, né? When your interests are directed toward you, when they are self-centered, they alienate themselves from everything else. This generates a certain intellectual anemia. And what does this mean? Intellectual anemia, anemia intellectual. It's a type of ignorance, right? Focus on me generates a type of pobreza. It's a type of poverty. I'm not able to understand anything that's going on if it doesn't have reference to me. So it would be like me saying, well, Felipe, my great technician helping me today, Felipe, he's really good to me. He really helps me. He's really serving me. So he's a really good guy, right? But if he doesn't serve me, if he's not interested in me, then he's a kind of an idiot. I could just despise him. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is to be self-centered. And so I become ignorant of anything. I can't learn from anybody else. I can't understand anybody else. I can't really have empathy with anybody else because I'm thinking about myself. I reference everything to me, which is the world we live in. And then Claudia goes on to say, we are fed by the essential energy that comes from nature, from God. And through consciousness and good action, we're better able to nourish ourselves with this energy. Well, there's two words there, fed, alimentado. Nós somos alimentados by the energia essencial que vem da natureza de Deus, né? And through consciousness, através consciência e boa ação boa, good action, we're better able to nourish ourselves, nutrir with this energy. So here's kind of a universal principle now through Keppe's metaphysics. The more we give, the more in service we are, the more we are fed by this energy that comes from God. Because that's the nature of life. The nature of life is generosity, to give, constantly giving. My father had a cherry tree years ago, and this one cherry tree produced tons of cherries. There were so many cherries, cerejos, we were giving them away to the neighbors. You know, sometimes I'd call my father and say, "Hey, Dad, how's it going?" He'd say, "Hey, Rich, it's good. Would you like some cherries?" I remember thinking, "Oh, God, not more cherries." It was producing. That's the essence of life, to give. That's our nature. When we are like that, in action, giving, we are capturing more of this energy, which makes us healthier. So here we say, Regina says, but if the person isn't fine, he or she cannot take care of the others. Yes, okay. But you know what, Regina? I think the person can take care of others even when they're not fine. It's a spirit, right? Because the nature of life is love. We are love in our essence. If we're not fine, it's because we're rejecting the love we have, not because we don't have. So this idea is that I don't have love and I have to get love for me. And when I get it for me, then I will have sufficient to give to others. This is not what the law of metaphysics tells us. What the law of metaphysics tells us is that we are immersed, we are immerso, we are mergulhado no bem. We are inside goodness all the time. So our not giving has no relationship to what we have. We have, and we need to give. We need to share. This is the spirit. So to be fine is not a matter of feeling good first. It's a matter of doing, and then we will be in alineamento. We'll be in line with this essential energy that we are. Then we will be correct. We will be true, and we'll be energized. So through giving, we love. Like you, Regina, or anybody. If you're a mother and you have a very, very difficult time at work, very difficult day at work, not anymore because we're all working at home, but in the normal world, if we come home from work exhausted, tired, stressed, and our child is sick, what do? We don't say to the kid, hey, come on, give me a break. I've been working like a dog all day. You know, go away to your room. Give me a few minutes to get organized. No, we sacrifice ourselves to give. That's the nature of life. Even if we don't feel fine. We don't always feel fine. Sometimes we feel tired or stressed or irritated. It's in those moments that we demonstrate how much love we have, because that's when we have to sacrifice, right? Our own feelings to help others. This is such an important point that I want to just make another point about it. I'm just looking here. Moms are an example. Even when they aren't fine, they take care of their babies. Jessica, I captured your idea. I captured your idea and was able to transmit that. So thank you from Jessica. I was doing a public speaking workshop many years ago when I first came to Brazil. Maybe 15 years ago. And I didn't speak Portuguese at the time, but they asked me to go and give a workshop to people in the center of São Paulo who were blind, cego. By the way, they were terrified of speaking in public. Did you know that? And I said to them, I says, but nobody can see you. They laughed at that. They thought that was very funny. But they were terrified of speaking in public, even though nobody could see them and they couldn't see anybody else, which shows that speaking in public, this fear of speaking in public, is something internal, not external. Okay, but there was a woman in the class who had glaucoma. You know how that is, glaucoma, when their eyes are like bulging, sticking out. And she had a humpback, this kind of disfiguration here, and very, very thin hair and little hairs growing out of her face. When you looked at her kind of twisted body with the eyes and stuff, you would say that she was grotesque in the way she looked. And the first time I just come from North America. I still am, but I was even more so in that superficial appearance thing. And I remember thinking, oh my God, how am I going to help her? What can I say to help her with her public speaking? And anyway, she got up to speak. She was in a wheelchair, cadeira de rodas, né? And she sort of stood up to speak, and she started to speak about why she wanted to improve her communication. You know what she said? She said, I want to improve my communication because I want to be a better public speaker so I can go around the country and help people who have deficiencias. I want to help people to understand that they can have a good life, that they can participate, they can contribute, they can help other people, that they can be really good, important people who have something to say, who have something to contribute. I'll tell you, when she finished speaking, she was the most beautiful person in the room. Why? Because of her spirit, this spirit radiating out of her to help, to give. And you could easily say with a person like that, well, she has every reason not to be able to give, but she wanted to give. Her spirit was to give. That's pretty powerful. It taught me a big lesson. Don't judge by the appearance, because what's going on inside is powerful in this case. So what did I learn from that? Love, affection is an action. It doesn't matter your circumstances. You always have the opportunity to give. You always have the opportunity to contribute. You always have the opportunity to help. Even if you're depressed, even if you're feeling bad, even if you're sick, you always have the opportunity to give and to help others. Always. You've seen the guys, I used to see them in New York. Guys who were drug addicts and alcoholics. They were in treatment, and they would go around the city carrying bags of food to help people on the street who had no food, contributing, trying to help. Mesmo com problemas, né? Giving. The secret of life, guys. We're fed by this energy. So, here's an example of what happens to us. Patient, I stay home behind closed doors while my father always had friends everywhere he went. The analyst says, well, what do you think this is? Patient, my father valued others while I only value myself. Analyst, our talents are meant for others, not for our own self-aggrandizement. Self-aggrandizement is auto-desenvolvimento, auto-conforto, right? Our talents are not for us. They're made for other people. You are built to contribute, to play your part in this symphony. That's your destiny. And this is a great secret to communication. So when you ask yourself about presenting or giving, speaking in a meeting or speaking in public, what is the purpose of your presentation? Why are you doing it? Why are you doing what you do? What's the reason to speak? Most people think, well, I'm being forced to, or I have to show my results, or I have to demonstrate what I can do, or I have to show the results from my department. That's what most people think. Yes, Regina, I see you're explaining here. Yes, all right. So Regina says, a rule of safety in the airplanes: in case of panic, you need to put the mask on yourself and after on the others. You need to protect yourself in that situation, or you won't be able to help the other. Yes, of course. But your intention of helping yourself is also to help the other. All right? There has to be this external. And in some situations, people will give the mask to the other person and not to themselves. They will sacrifice their own life to help somebody else. My friend Susan Berkeley tells the story of her mother, her grandmother, who was not Jewish. Her grandmother was not Jewish, Judeo. And she converted to Judaism, the grandmother did, knowing she was going to die, because she would be able to send her child out. There was a train that took many of the Jewish children out of Germany during the war. So she converted to Judaism, knowing that her life was at risk, so that her daughter could have another life in another country. Imagine that. Look at that sacrifice, right? So, nem sempre a gente cuida de si mesmo primeiro, yeah? Not always. So this is really, really important. What's the purpose of your presentation? Coming back to that. Why are we talking? Why are we doing things? Why are we communicating? To serve. Our presentation is not for me. I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for my audience. If I'm representing my department, I have to present the sales results from my department for the month. I'm representing my department. I'm serving them. And I'm trying to give their statistics to the management team so I can show them the good work that we're doing or the problems that we might have in our department. Your purpose in life is to serve, not to be served. That's the secret of communication. Serve. If you're interested in helping the people, if you're interested in helping your audience, in contributing to their lives, you will always be a successful speaker. Even if you make mistakes, even if you have glaucoma, even if you have a hump on your back, even if you're an incompetent speaker, that spirit will be what communicates. I'll show you more about this in a minute. So the purpose of your communication. Here's what people say. I have to do this. God, I hate doing this. I want them to like me. I want to be remembered. I want everything to be perfect, all that stress that we create trying to be perfect. I want to remember how to stand, what to do with my hands, how to hold my notes, how to do my PowerPoint slide, right? That's what people think about. How do we disinvert that? Because this has to be disinverted. This is totally focused on me. I have to do this, right? I hate doing this, but I got to do it. How do we disinvert that? We have to see this from another perspective. I want to do this. This is a good opportunity. Instead of I hate doing this, this is a good opportunity. I want them to like me. No, I want to give to them. I want to give something. I want to be remembered. No, I want my talk to be helpful, interesting, valuable to them. I want to remember how to stand, what to do with my hands, how to hold my notes. No, I want to remember my real purpose for being there, which is to serve, which is to give. This is the big secret of communication, my friends. If you can have this mentality, if you can disinvert yourself enough to see that you're here only to serve, to help, to give, your communication will grow a lot. Look what happens in the language class. Right? People say, oh, I can't speak because I don't know the vocabulary. I don't have enough grammar. Okay, you don't have enough vocabulary. But if you have the intention, a good intention, you will try to communicate. You'll use the vocabulary that you have and try to make a connection. Try to speak with other people. This is the unbelievable secret to all of this. It's beautiful, isn't it? Evanisi said, excellent explanation. Okay, good, Evanisi. I'm happy you got that. Because I thought a lot about this. I've worked with a lot of people in language classes, in public speaking. sessions, even in English through theater. And I can see that people are so concerned with themselves that the talent that they have doesn't go forward. So people are blocking this this capacity they have, and not even expressing the amount that they do have. So I have this much vocabulary. Okay, express that much vocabulary. Right? You don't have to wait till you have it all figured out. It's an intention, something inside you. So this is very beautiful, isn't it? Instead of I have to do this, I want to do this. I'm excited to do this. I want to contribute. I want to help. Because how people really perceive us is 20% of what we say anyway. 20% of what you say, people remember. In fact, it's 7% of the words that you say, people will remember. 7%. What do people remember? They remember your energy. They remember your spirit, your intention. Like this beautiful woman I helped with public speaking. In truth, she helped me, right? She gave an enormous contribution to my life. Enormous contribution. I remember her até agora. I'd never seen her since. I saw her for a 2-hour workshop. She changed my life. I can tell you that directly. So, energy, right? People don't remember your PowerPoint graphics. They don't remember your animation, your appearance. They remember your energy, how much you were interested in helping them, how much you were trying to help them. That's what people remember. And if you can remember that idea when you go to speak, that you're not here for you, you're here for the other person, to contribute, to participate, to be interested, to be excited about this. This is what people remember. And this is what's important in life. Big secret. So Claudia says, if a person doesn't turn his energy toward life, endereção de vida, toward improving society, this person won't be able to nourish himself. Se nutrir. People should look at everything with this attitude. How can I do better? How can I do the best I can do? How can I take better care of the planet? How can I take better care of others? Then they will be healthier. Not waiting to feel perfect or to feel right, but giving everything with what we have now. That's all that's required of us. That's all we can do. Give the most of ourselves now with what we have. And then we learn by doing that and get better at it. You see the difference in the spirit. And Dr. Keppe says the primary problem of the boring speaker, that he's unwilling to step outside himself and give something valuable and pleasant to the audience. That's what makes us boring. What makes us boring is when we're interested in ourselves. What makes us interesting is when we're interested in other people. We're interested in helping, contributing. And Lord knows this is what the world needs today, right? The world needs this. Ronaldo says, I get very anxious and I stutter. Gaguejar? I stutter. Yeah, that's very common. Nervousness. How to cure nervousness. Focus on other people, not your stuttering. Not this woman's blindness, not the hump in her back. Focus on helping, giving to other people. So what if you stutter? Who cares if you're interested in helping people? If I'm having a heart attack and you come to help me, do you think I care if you stutter? Do you think I care if you don't speak my language perfectly? No, I want you to help. I need help. This is what people need. This is what our world needs. It needs people who sai dele próprio, né? Tentar ajudar os outros. This is what the world needs. This is what our world needs. So there's the big secret of communication. The biggest secret I can think of: serve, give, share, be part of the life of others. Try to help, try to contribute, and then you'll be a better communicator. I guarantee you'll be a better communicator. Even if you don't improve your technical skills, your spirit will be very, very clear for everybody. That's beautiful. That means that good communication is dentro del alcance de todo mundo. It's within everybody's reach. We do not have to get better at speaking in public. We do that by practice. We have to have more vontade, more willingness to share. This is our secret. So, we're doing a course now all about this. I've given you one little teaser about what we'll be doing. Here's our course, Leadership and Communications, beginning very soon, the middle of June, in English, one of our 10-hour courses. There's the price. There's the phone number. Develop your natural gifts. Leadership and communication. We'll be working on this for a full 10 hours, right? In online classes and live classes through the internet. We'll be working on this capacity to express yourself better, dealing with these things that we're talking about today in an even more profound way. Okay, so there's the course. It's an amazing course, I can tell you. I wish I'd had a course like this when I was learning about communication. It would have helped me a lot, because I had a lot of problems with being narcissistic and needing to be perfect, so I had to work through a lot of those things professionally to get better. So there it is. There's the phone number. And don't forget, we'll have certification there. Don't forget, fill out the information in the explanation about the YouTube channel, okay? You can get your free booklet and be in touch with us about our courses. Okay, that sound good? Let's see. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. You're very welcome. Very welcome. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I hope that I can share some things that are helpful to you so that you improve your communication naturally. Okay? Thank you very much, my dear friends. And we'll talk to you again next week. Bye for now.